I'm just so honored today to have Simone Gold. She's my hero. And she's the one who knows the truth behind the CCP virus and the CCP virus vaccine mandate. And so we're so happy to have you today. And so we are known as the Chinese whistleblower movement. Our leader and founder, Mr. Mao Guo, he's CCP's #1 enemy. He's the first one to tell the truth about the true origin of the coronavirus. It's not from the wet market. It's coming from the Wuhan lab, okay? And the whole vaccine, we're not against the vaccine in general. We are against the CCP vaccine, And so, so tell us your name for people who haven't met you in person. And
Great. So I'm Dr. Simone Gold, and I founded America's Frontline Doctors because we know that there was so much censorship and propaganda. I always knew that China was behind it. I don't know how anybody, you asked me how I knew. I said, to me, it was obvious. So first of all, we heard outlandish stories like it came from a wet market. When if you just did a 30-second internet search, you could see that this alleged wet market was like 3 or 4 miles away from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And if you looked up the Wuhan Institute of Virology, you saw that it was a level 4 biosafety hazard lab, of which there was exactly 1 in the nation of China, right? And it was new, and it was only started in 2017. And China had already had difficulties with biosafety hazard labs level 3. They had let SARS virus escape. Their containment policies were not strong enough. So we already knew that China didn't have a good track record. So I knew that it was either an accidental leak or it was an on-purpose leak. I couldn't say. But one thing I knew for sure is it didn't come from a wet market, So, and then the other thing that made it a clue that this was more nefarious was the aggressive name change, the aggressive change in words. Initially, this was called the Wuhan virus, which was not racist. The reason it's not racist is viruses are very commonly named after places from which they arise or places they're associated. China, CCP, got very angry at that. So they kind of made everybody to change the language. If you remember, then they started calling it the coronavirus. But there's 7 coronaviruses, so that was confusing. And then they came up with COVID, which is very clever. But anytime you start seeing a name change, you have to be very, very suspicious. And then eventually, of course, we saw that they used even the word vaccine. And vaccine, it's not a vaccine. The common definition understanding of the word vaccine is a modality that will stop the transmission of an organism, and that's not what it did. So once you start seeing an organization, entity changing language, you're dealing with tyranny and fascism.
Yeah, so absolutely, and they're the CCP's money behind the major American pharmaceutical company, the vaccine manufacturers, and we know that Pfizer's Research and Development Center is based in Shanghai under the CCP's direct control. And we know that CCP's money is also behind the vaccine manufacturers. So in this country, we're deeply troubled by how far the CCP has penetrated into almost every aspect of the society, not only in Wall Street, but in medical field. And I know you have been championing for medical freedom, okay? So medical should also stay out of the CCP's control and mandates, right?
Okay, so the CCP, we Americans don't know enough about what's really going on. So if you look at your college campuses, so you'll notice I think it's about 20 or 30 years ago, we started seeing Mandarin programs in college campuses. But what was actually going on is that China was sponsoring these programs and paying for everything.